Hey there, welcome back to Throne FC. Everyone and their mother are talking about the players that their club needs, like some sort of shiny action figures in a Toys R Us. But what about those unwanted players who are just clogging up space and close funds? In my opinion, before we start to think about the players that could help the team, we should first settle the future of those who don't add anything to the squad. Today, I'm gonna showcase 10 players that your club needs to sell as soon as possible. Starting out with Aurélien Tchouaméni. To kick things off, we immediately start with a controversial pick, as many of you will say that Real Madrid has a dream midfield that could perform at the highest level for over a decade. So why should he sell a part of it? There are 3 spots in the midfield, and right now, the pecking order seems to be Bellingham, Camavinga and Valverde. Modric and Kroos are still in the team, but even if you exclude them, Tchouaméni would be the 4th option at best, and at 22 years old, even if it's in Real Madrid, you're not gonna achieve your full potential like that. I believe that everyone would be happy if Tchouaméni left. Real Madrid would be able to get a good sum of money for the player, and Tchouaméni would be able to find a spot in the starting 11 of almost every top team in Europe, especially in the Premier League. If they keep him for longer, the risk of him devaluing grows higher, and besides, they could include a buyback clause or even loan him instead in case the player proves himself to be above the level of the Real Madrid starters. From the sunny plazas in Madrid, we move to the cloudy skies of Newcastle to meet the next player in our list, Alain Saint-Maximin. Throughout last season, we've witnessed a massive improvement in Newcastle United. With Eddie Howe at the helm, the Magpies played a more strict and organized style of football that led them back to the Champions League for the first time in 20 years. However, with their current playing style, it's very difficult for a player like Saint-Maximin to thrive. He needs freedom on the field, and at Newcastle, you'll never get it. At best, you'll continue to be that player deployed only when you need a breakthrough, and at worst, he'll start to become useless as most of his time is spent on the bench. That kills the fire in any player, so in my opinion, he should just pack and leave. And I don't even think that he would necessarily downgrade to a weaker side. I believe Arsenal, for example, would benefit a lot from having him on the wing. Speaking of Arsenal, we got Nicolas Pepe. Up until the arrival of Declan Rice, Pepe was still Arsenal's most expensive player. I know it's hard to believe, since in the last 4 years he's been as useless as a car with no wheels. Pepe was loaned out last season to Nice, but has some injury problems that prevented him from playing at his best. Either way, it's clear that he doesn't have a future with the Gunners, and the best case scenario is a Saudi club coming to get the French player. But if that doesn't happen, I believe Arsenal will continue to be ruthless and terminate his contract before the end of the summer. It has happened to Ozil, Aubameyang, Kolasinac and Mustafi, so I don't think they'll have a problem doing the same again, even if it's their second most expensive transfer of all time. At number 7, we got Donny van de Beek. Back in 2019, Van de Beek was one of the hottest prospects in Europe, having helped Ajax reach the semi-finals of the Champions League after beating both Real and Juve. And 1 year later, all the Red Devils were happy when they finally completed his transfer. Fast forward 3 years and I don't think anyone excited about him anymore. Whether it was because of injuries, lack of athleticism or consistency, the fact of the matter is that he simply hasn't impressed, even though he's now playing with a manager that propelled his career. His decline has been evident, and I think it's time for Man United to let the player go permanently and let him gain back his confidence. He's 26, he's not that old, so perhaps we can even see a comeback from the Dutch player. Continuing the city of Manchester, we got João Cancelo. Until now, there's still no info on why Cancelo fell out of favor with Guardiola. Did he say he doesn't like bald people? Or did he say that Pep's crush Julia Roberts isn't attractive? I guess we'll never know. But all jokes aside, Cancelo probably isn't the easiest player to deal with, and Pep is notorious for disliking players with attitude. So the most likely scenario is that Cancelo had a poor run of form, was then dropped to the bench, and instead of taking it like a good little boy, he turned into the typical guy from Lisbon's south side and stepped up to his coach. Guardiola didn't like it and permanently crossed him from the team. It's clear that the relationship can be patched, even Pep has admitted that he doesn't like his temper, so a move away from the Etihad is the obvious choice for Cancelo. Unless he wants to lose his place to Dalot in the national team as well. At number 5, we got Raul Jimenez. Earning £200,000 a month and scoring only 3 times in a season makes his goals cost £600,000 each. That's a lot, and it needs to end. I don't want to be too harsh because Jimenez in his first 2 seasons with Wolves was actually really solid, having scored a combined total of 44 goals, but after a life-threatening injury in 2020, he was never the same. Nowadays, he continues to be plagued by knee and groin injuries, and it's evident that he's no longer on the Premier League's level. In my opinion, he should return to Mexico to get his confidence and form back, and perhaps to continue playing with his national team should he wish to do so. Up next, we got João Felix. I know I've already mentioned this One Direction lookalike a bunch of times, but hey, don't blame me, blame him and his terrible takes to the journalists. Imagine being under contract with a club and saying that your biggest dream was to play with their direct rivals. How stupid can you be? I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I'm not gonna waste too much time in this video repeating myself, but for the new viewers, he's Atletico's most expensive player of all time, but can perform under Simeone's style, much less get along with his manager. He failed at Chelsea, and nowadays him and his agent are begging for Barca and pretty much every other top team in Europe to take him. The thing is, Atletico has put a £85 million price tag on the player, and due to his lack of commitment and unimpressive numbers on the field, nobody wants to take him for that amount of money. Either way, he needs to leave Atletico. At number 3, we got another super expensive player, Neymar Jr. Despite his high wages, this case is a bit more tricky. PSG created the dream team 2 years ago, but failed to win the top prize in club football. The club is clearly set on a rebuild around Mbappe, and if the French prodigy stays, Neymar's gotta go. Despite being the club's most expensive transfer of all time, Neymar hasn't delivered the same as Mbappe in the last couple of seasons, and at 31 years old, it's time to cash in on the player before his value decreases even more. I've already stated that I don't think a move to the Premier League would be ideal, but there's definitely interest over there, with Chelsea being the front runners to get the Brazilian player. Up next, I'll bring you an interesting player from the Portuguese league, Mehdi Taremi. In this channel, the Premier League isn't the end-all be-all of football, and I like to spice things up with some players and clubs that you might not know. Which leads me to the last season's top scorer of the Portuguese league. Taremi is a complete forward that can not only strike well, but also build play for his teammates. But the problem is that his contract ends next year, so if Porto want to cash out on him, they gotta do it now. Besides, the club already has several attacking options, including Navarro, Martinez, Evanilson and Amaso, so I don't think they would struggle with his departure. I know that the Iranian player wishes to continue playing in Europe, so a move to a mid-table Premier League team would be beneficial to everyone involved. And finally, Harry Kane. Yep, I said it, Tottenham should sell Harry Kane. It's a logical move. Yes, they might not have the same attacking prowess next season, but Spurs need to think long term. Unless his form drops a lot, he will leave for free to a big European team next year. There's absolutely no way that they can convince Harry Kane to stay if either Bayern or Real come knocking at his door. I don't see Spurs building a title-challenging squad. In fact, I only see them getting weaker, and if things continue to evolve the way they are, they'll no longer be in the Big Six. But his departure isn't the end of the world. They could use the money to build a stronger and more balanced squad under the new coach Postecoglou. I know it didn't work out with Bale's sale in 2013, but they have to learn from their mistakes and evolve. Otherwise, in 2024, Spurs will be without Harry Kane and not a single penny richer. And that is it. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up so I know you want to watch more videos like this. And as always, don't forget to subscribe in order for me to grow the channel and stop recording next to loud ass neighbors. And of course, for you not to miss another interesting football video. Thanks for watching till the end, I appreciate you, and I will see you soon.